Guys and girls, what's going on? Viridia here with Down the Scope, episode 39. I will be your host this week, and as always, my awesome co-host Anakin stopped playing Call of Duty to help me out.
What? Wait, what? I was sorry. I was in the middle of a Call of Duty match.
How's it
sorry.
going, brother?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Oh, yeah, that's right. We're doing Down the Scope.
Yeah, we weren't here last weekend, but we're playing catch up this weekend, so we have an ass ton to talk about.
Indeed.
And to help us with that, we have brought an awesome special guest onto the cast. Adam Fox, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, guys? Come by after playing some Call of Duty to help you guys out. Maybe give some information out to all those people wanting to get better at Modern Warfare 3.
Now, this guy is a COD freak.
I'm sorry. I was playing Call of Duty again. Sorry. No. Go on.
No, well, you see, we haven't had this problem in a while, and we're going to get to this revolutionary game and our thoughts on it. But first of all, since we didn't get to talk to you last week, Jason, what's been going on?
Well, lots of craziness. I've actually been involved with a bunch of stuff here at my house. I know those of you who are hard scopers follow the channel and follow the podcast. Many of you know that I was in the middle of moving. During the early summer, me and my wife moved after we had the twins to get more room, and then we lived in our old house for a number of years. We did tons of work to it, and we were very happy there. And then we realized we were going to need more room, so we're kind of in that mode now that winter is sort of here, and we're kind of inside a lot more. We're doing so many things inside the house, so I haven't had a whole lot of time. And last weekend was just a train wreck for me. So, and then this week has been nothing but Modern Warfare. So it's been very, very, very difficult for me to make time to do much of anything in the moment. So yes, all housework and improvements. And then when Modern Warfare 3 hit, it was almost all downhill from there. So here we are, though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're here and we're ready to talk gaming. I mean, we had a discussion earlier, about a month or two ago, that this podcast in particular was going to be, we're not going to have enough time to talk about everything we want to say.
Yeah.
We have had so many releases come out. We had we still see Uncharted 3, Arkham City, Modern Warfare 3, Skyrim. We've got Mario 3D Land coming out, Zelda Skyward Sword, which has gotten unbelievable praise. It is evidently one of the best games to date and might be a contender for Game of the Year with me. I don't know. I haven't I never would have thought, but anyway, with the press it's getting, it's absolutely crazy. And so we've got a lot to talk about. I figure since you guys, since we all share one thing in common, at least in this room, we might as well just start with Modern Warfare 3. And as you guys know, this game freaking, we talked about it, we've hyped it up. I know a lot of my guys aren't Call of Duty fans, but Anakin and Tar Fox, that's their community. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. And Jason, what'd you think, man? Did it live up to your expectations, or are you going to spend the rest of your gaming career playing Knights of the Old Republic or whatever it's called?
Well, at this point, it's very, very controversial out there. The whole Modern Warfare 3 release was probably one of the most polarizing releases for the gaming industry that I've ever seen. It broke all sales records. It is now considered, they sold, not shipped, because remember, Battlefield 3 claimed they shipped 5 million. But the actual sales for Call of Duty on the first day was 6.5 million. And the largest media launch of all time was the Harry Potter book, the final book, the Deathly Hallows. That book sold more than anything in history regarding movies, books, and games.
Right.
Modern Warfare 3 actually now has overtaken the sales of that final Harry Potter book in one day. So actually, sorry, it's going to actually be 2 days. I want to be sure I'm 100% accurate on that. What they're considering to be the biggest launch is a 2-day launch. I don't know why they do that, but anyway, for day 1 and day 2 sales, it's going to be considered the biggest entertainment launch in history. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a good game, because we all know, Transformers 2 and 3 made a lot of money as movies, but those movies are not all that good. But here's the thing: I am perfectly content with the game. I'm not going to shout from the rooftops, but I am very pleased with what I got. I can't say this is innovative. It certainly isn't. I can't say it's the second coming of FPSs. I can't say even that. I can't even say I can recommend it to everybody yet. At this point, it is, in my opinion, Modern Warfare 2.5. And I am happy with that.
Yeah, I am in total agreement with you. Now the thing is, I put the game in, and I looked at it, and I was like, it is 2.5, because everything is the same, and that's what I was talking about in the video that I released. If you were to take a screenshot and look at it, you really wouldn't be able to tell, honestly. You know what I mean?
Really wouldn't. I completely agree. And the thing is there a lot of tweaks, and is there some new game modes, and obviously all new maps and guns and balance and all that? That absolutely.
Oh yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you took a layman off the street who is not a gamer and you set them down for Modern Warfare 2 and they played for an hour, and then you brought them back a week later, not having any knowledge of what's going on in the media world or game coverage or anything, and you set them down to play Modern Warfare 3 and just says, hey, we want you to play the same game. Will you sit down and play some more of that game you played last week? They would probably say absolutely, and they would sit down, and I honestly believe to a common person, they probably would not know they're playing a different game.
Right. No, I totally agree. It's like you said, it's a lot of tweaking, a lot of balance, configuration. I'm not even going. There's no graphic upgrade. If there is, it's so minor you can't even tell.
The only thing they did do, by the way, on the graphical side, is they actually improved the frame rate on the consoles, particularly during things like any explosions. They are now a lot. They're a little more cartoony on the explosions, but they did that to keep the frame rate running at a smooth 60 frames per second, because there were dips on even Modern Warfare 2 during certain things like strafes of precision airstrikes and things like that. And everybody knew it, but we obviously you just dealt with it. It wasn't that big a deal.
Yeah, you didn't care. Yeah, it's just one of those things you dealt with, and it's kind of like. What was it? Oh, the hip firing. You keep hoping that they're going to make hip firing a little bit better, because like in real life, I would be able to hit you if I was hip firing.
Yeah.
But they don't, and that's just part of the game. It's just it's a game mechanic. It's not realistic. It's so in that aspect, it's excellent. And to tell you the truth, I don't know about you. You're playing on the Xbox, but I'm honest. I have not had any lag issues at all.
Zero for me.
Zero.
Literally zero. In fact, I would probably say this is the best AAA game launch I think I may have ever played. At least multiplayer, okay? This is multiplayer. This is probably the best game launch I've ever played. Now, a lot of people who are listening right now may roll their eyes at that and say, "Oh, well, yeah, no wonder, because it's the same damn game from 2 years ago." What did they got to, what can they get wrong? But having said that, you could say the same thing about some of these other major titles that had horrible releases that were very, very similar to their prior releases as well. And, in this case, they pulled it off. I had zero problems.
Well, and think about this. How many times have you ever gone to a midnight release of a multiplayer game, popped it in, and had no problem?
Oh, never.
Yeah, exactly. I popped it in. I'm sitting here expecting it. I was standing in line at the Walmart. This line was huge, and we were talking about this to some random people, and I'm like, yeah, guys, we're gonna have problems when when we pop it in. Just give it a little while, it'll work. I popped it in, and I was playing all night. No problem, and I was just loving it, man. And I tell you what, I really did just get that sense of here's a new COD. This isn't a Black Ops. This is a new installment into the game that I fell in love with.
Exactly.
and I was very, very pleased. And off the topic of just multiplayer, the Spec Ops. Have you played the Spec Ops Survival?
I have somebody I've promised to play with. It's actually one of my subscribers, one of my fans from my channel, and he has asked me to do it, and I said yes, I will do it. So I've actually been saving it because I want to do a live comm with those individuals and play for the first time, in this iteration.
Well,
So I have not done it.
let me tell you this: zombies can go die. This trumps zombie mode to high heaven. It is the most entertaining survival experience I've ever played. Now, I hate to just bash on zombies, but man, after you play Spec Ops, you're like, why would I ever play zombies again? I do anyway. It's just like, it's so much more tactical, so much more fast paced. You're not sitting here worrying about getting hit twice by some undead freak and dying. You're actually fighting a one-man war, and it is absolutely exhilarating. Not only that, you get all the maps to play, not just 2 and then pay $15 for a new one in a month. You get every single multiplayer map to play on.
That's awesome.
And it is spectacular. Not only that, here's the best thing about it. They basically reward you for playing. They reward you. So like you say you start up the Spec Ops, you get to level 13 and you die. Now in zombies you'd be like, oh god, let's try again. But in Spec Ops you level up. So say I got to level 13 and I die, well crap, but I leveled up to level 4, so that means I can start the game and buy better guns and get farther and farther each time. Now if you quit out of the game, you lose your level. As far as I know, that's what happened to me. You lose your level and have to start over, but it gives you an incentive to keep playing in that play period, and to keep getting farther. It's a very good incentive, and the variation is so immense. Zombies got so boring for me. There was no variation. I mean, at least throw in some. I mean, yeah, they had dogs and crap like that, but that wasn't different enough for me. Here they've got, one wave could be a bunch of civilians with guns. Next wave, civilians with C4 on their chest. Next wave, copters coming in, dropping juggernauts. I mean, it is insane. So
that is awesome.
That mode got a big plus for me, I'll tell you that. Adam, what has your experience been?
Well, I love the game, first off. I mean, I had high expectations being playing COD ever since COD 4 and loving the game and playing it competitively from start to finish. And I mean, I wear out CODs, and for the most part, I love this game. It feels like COD, like you said before. And as far as I guess from a competitive side, I mean, I played the multiplayer, and I mean, I love the multiplayer, and actually got into Spec Ops some. And totally agree with you about the zombies thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I love the game. I love the balance of it and everything. I mean, it's everything I would want from a Modern Warfare 3. But I totally agree with Anakin. Yes, it's a 2.5. Yes, you can call it whatever, the Modern Warfare 2.5, whatever. But I mean, it's still COD, and every one of us who enjoy it love it. And I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've only met one person who said he didn't like it, and we couldn't get him to state his reason why. It was just like, wait, why don't you like it? Okay, that's what I thought. You're just one of those guys. It's like, oh, I'd rather play Battlefield. Well, then go play Battlefield. It's like, but the thing is that in my opinion, we won't have a true just sequel to the Call of Duty franchise until we see Call of Duty 5. And you know what? They've got to make a new engine. They've got to make a better engine. They've got to make a more polished engine. And then we'll finally have that massive sequel. But
I just don't think it's going to happen until we see the new consoles. I really, truly believe that.
Yeah.
I just don't know how much further they can go with the engine. I mean, we've already seen some of the limits reached under the Crysis 2 engine on the consoles, under the Frostbite 2 engine. I mean, these games, great games, they look spectacular, but you sacrifice frame rate, you sacrifice, various other problems, networking, hit detection. You have to sacrifice these other things to, increase the engine's either graphical capability or other issues. at this point, I just think that they are going to continue. With this engine. I mean, obviously, we don't have that much longer to wait because Black Ops 2 is going to be under the Black Ops engine, from Treyarch.
Yeah.
That's going to be next year, and then by 2013, by the
720
time
comes out.
I truly do believe that I think 2013 is going to be the year of new consoles. I mean, you're already hearing some minor rumblings out there, and there's already been some patents filed for Xbox and Sony, both under new console. Not naming schemes yet, but they've got some code names, and they're already patenting some hardware. So I really think that honestly, there's just not much of a reason for them to change the Call of Duty engines at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that they can. And you're right. Until we see that new console, we won't see a true upgrade. I mean, right now, like we've been talking about, it's just tweaks, and that's pretty much all it can be.
Sure. And that's actually what I wanted.
Yeah, I know. You kept preaching that, I'm going to be okay with that. I wasn't sure about how I would be, but it turns out that I'm liking it a lot. I really am. It just feels, I mean, guys, it is so much better than Black Ops. Black Ops is just so bad. It's so bad.
The old adage, it holds true in this case. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And
Exactly.
Infinity Ward has held true to that.
Yeah, it's you polish it up a little bit, and I mean, you're not even just repackaging it. It's just like a full, you got the new guns, you got everything. I mean, even the guns that are in the game from Modern Warfare 2 handled a little differently. I'm finding the UMP to be handled a little bit better, as well as the P90. So I mean, yeah, it's a spectacular game. I don't guess any of you guys have played the single player.
It's actually sad because I for all the other CODs prior to this, I always sat down and played the single player within a couple of days of release. And this week has just been too crazy for me, and I really feel like I'm only level 50 something right now, and I already feel like I'm behind the curve. There was people supposedly prestiging before the game was released because of that crazy Kmart issue from last week. And there was talk on a couple of YouTube videos I saw where there were actually people who were on their second, third, and even somebody on their fourth prestige on release day.
Jesus Christ.
Playing like insane amounts of Call of Duty.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, I just can't even imagine. But for me, I do want to, I do want to progress. I do want to get familiar with everything. The one of the things I'm having some difficulty with is the naming scheme for the maps. I'm not a fan of the map names. In fact, I'm having difficulty even thinking of some of them. I know some of the names, but I can't see why they chose certain names. They're just not very obvious. Bootleg, for example, looks like a cross between Kowloon from Black Ops and Chinatown from COD 4. And maybe it means something in the campaign. I don't know.
And what is the map Baccarat? I mean,
Baccarat.
Is that a city name that they chose? I mean, we had Karachi. I knew the name Karachi.
Sounds more like an STD though. Still.
But they've got one called Mission, and I didn't think it looked like a mission. There was a couple of others that were just oddball names, and I actually, even with being level 51, 52 right now, I forget exactly which level I am. I still, when a level loads, I still can't tell you the exact level. One of them was Interchange, and that one is one of the few that I feel like is named somewhat appropriately, but even still, I don't know why they just didn't call it Interstate. It's a bunch of highways, that are crossing or whatever. But Interchange works. But...
I remember Underground pretty well because it's like a huge hole.
Yeah, Underground. See, I was confused because I thought Underground. There's a couple of maps that actually have underground areas, so I was actually confused on which one was Underground. But yeah, the one in the city with the huge, crater in the middle. If you play Domination, B is inside that crater. That one, I believe you're right, is the one called Underground because you've got the subway system. Is that right?
Yeah,
that map is huge.
Yeah, that map is massive.
Yeah, and that was something I thought about. I honestly at first and still a little bit, I'm kind of disappointed with the maps. Um, what I mean by that is I take every map and I compare it. I compare them to Modern Warfare 2. And if I mean, look at a map from Modern Warfare 2 like a state. Now that to me was an awesome map. It wasn't just tiered out, top floor, bottom floor. It was like it was a gradient up a hill
Yep.
to an estate and all that stuff. And then you got maps like Afghan where it was a hilly desert and all that stuff, and there were slopes going up. These maps seem very tiered to me. Like they kind of like go down like steps. And
Right.
if they don't do that, then they're just flat with some buildings in them. There's not a lot of depth to me. Like it feels more like I don't know. It feels more like a map in a game rather than a real spot. In
The
reality.
one map that I really like, I don't know, I wish you guys would know the name of this one. All I can do is describe it, which is sad because it's my favorite map in the game so far, and it is the only map that I feel seems as close to realism as possible, and that's the one where you've got this massive opening on one end with a gradient for like a truck, like a
Yeah.
driveway, like a muddy driveway. I think it's almost like this like Nigerian camp or village or something or whatever, and you've got this gradient ramp on the end, and you're overlooking this huge area that you can see all the buildings down below or whatever, and then you've got a little creek that runs down the middle. There's and the sad thing is I could probably be describing almost like two different maps, but the creek I'm describing only allows for one
One way in, one way out.
one. It's like
Is it the one? Is it the map with all the dead animals in it?
No, not that one. See, that's the other one that has like a big creek with a dry creek. That's a big creek. The one I'm talking about is this really tight little creek that only allows one character model to pass through it, almost the entire length of it. And you've got this really high outlook on the whole thing. In fact, if you play Domination, I think it's A inside. God dang it!
It's one. Damn it. Anakin just got shut up by his mic. Literally.
And
Oh my
it's A.
And it's A. Done. So Anakin has batteries in his mic, and they mess up from time to time.
Sorry,
I
here we
don't-
go. All right, here we go. You've got A down in the area where the open area is, and then B is kind of in this little hallway area right in the middle of the map. It's not like a hallway, but it's an open area between some buildings. Anyway, it's very hard to describe. I don't know the name of the map, but so far it's my favorite map in the game because it does feel the most realistic with the layout of the village and so forth.
Yeah, and that's honestly the exact map I was about to
Is it
describe.
bootleg?
Not
No, it's not
bootleg.
bootleg.
Bootleg is that one I was describing. It's kind of like Kowloon in Chinatown.
Yeah, man, it's right on the tip of my tongue because I just read the name the other day. But yeah, I know what you're talking about, and that's the one I was going to describe that I like the most. I also like Arcadia because it feels like you're kind of like right in the middle of a city, like in France, like kind of like a busy kind of a mall.
I like that map, but honestly, I don't know what it is. I just suck at that map so bad.
Yeah, I do too. I honestly, I've only gotten like 2 good games there, and the rest have just been failures. But I enjoy the layout. I like fighting in modern places, and that was like one of my big things. I like Terminal. I like those maps like that. And I was getting kind of scared. Dome, yeah, Dome is an interesting map because it's a very close quarters battle.
Yeah.
And man, I'll tell you right now, if you get Juggernaut in that, like I just rampaged the other day. I went on like a 13 kill streak with Juggernaut. It was insane. Like I love that perk. At first it seems like crap, but man, if you're good with a pistol, you're killing. And people
yeah.
will run. And the best part about having it on Dome is there's nowhere to run. It's like they're going to run into each other eventually, and then it's going to slow them down. You're going to pick them off. So it's pretty cool.
To go along with what Brad was saying about the multi-level kind of into steps, and then maybe some maps are just single tiered with buildings mixed in. From what I've read and what they were trying to do, as far as I know, is basically create more of a feel like COD 4 in the fact that they wanted more gunfights. They wanted places of position that were of higher value to people, meaning that they can post up in those and just wreak havoc. And those were very hot spots. And
Yeah.
they tried to create maps where they took away some of that. And I think that's what they're trying to do. I mean, I agree with you. I don't necessarily like a lot of the maps, but the more I play them, the more I understand them, the more I enjoy
Well,
the
yeah.
aspects of them.
Well, and I can definitely tell you I'm in more gunfights than getting killed by any other crap. The only kill streak I have any problem with is a freaking Pavlo, man. That thing just kills you. And it seems like, to me, when I hear Pavlo inbound or enemy Pavlo sighted, it's just like, okay, pause the game, go hide in a building. That's pretty much what it is, because, like, unless you have a javelin, like I've equipped all my things with a javelin now. I don't like that. I don't like having to do that. I want to
Right.
have
Yeah.
a scorpion. I want to have a pistol or something, but no, I gotta have a javelin just because if there's a freaking Pavlo inbound, I gotta fire two shells at it to take it out. That just upsets me. So other than
By the
that,
way, that map, I couldn't stand it. I had to look it up. That map I'm referring to is called Mission. That is the one that I
that's
felt
Mission.
like is kind of it does not go with the name of it whatsoever. And but it's really very cool. It's got this huge open area. Like I said, there's a tiny little bridge that goes over this extremely narrow little like a creek bed that is way taller than you are. I mean, it's like 2 or 3 stories tall, but only wide enough for you to pass through it, and it gradients up so that you kind of come out of it. It's a very, very neat map. I really like that one. I feel it's probably the most realistic of all the
Yeah.
maps, at least for layouts. And I like the gameplay on it. But some of the other maps, I'm just I'm a little, I'm okay with them. But I have to say for sure that Mission, I think, is probably my favorite map.
Yeah.
So I have to ask the question to both of y'all. Have any of y'all got the M.O.A.B yet?
Hell no.
Got the what?
The M.O.A.B.
Oh,
25
no,
kill
no,
streak, the
no.
secret
I
kill
haven't
streak.
gotten it. Yeah. I'm actually I'm pretty disappointed that they went ahead and included that. I feel like it was probably something added at the last minute. Um, I just feel like the problem with 2 was people kept wanting to go after the nuke, and I mean it's like once you do it, and once a couple of people do it on YouTube, it's kind of old hat at that point. It's like, hey, I got a nuke. But the I guess part of the issue is it just seems to be something that people do almost to the point of trolling.
Yeah, you're right.
Just
I
a
mean,
gimmick.
It is, and I wish that it really wasn't there, though I don't think we're going to see as much of it as the
yeah.
nukes,
No.
because I'll tell you let me ask you guys this. I was talking with some buddies at work about this. I don't know whether it's me or if it truly is changed. Do you guys think the movement, the standard movement, I'm not talking about sprinting or marathon or anything. I'm talking about the overall movement in the game. Do you think it's accelerated compared to MW2?
I mean, I know what you're saying, and I think a lot of that has to do with a few perks like either Stalker and Quick Draw. Meaning, like, all right, with Stalker, I don't know if y'all have ever heard of the term snaking, but in Modern Warfare
Yes.
2,
Yeah.
you can basically drop down to prone and come out of prone really quickly, and it was like a movement, and it was adopted by a lot of pros as a maneuver to get away from gunfights and that for. And Stalker was basically a new perk that kind of just created that for you without you having to do it. It reduces sway in your gun, and you can basically aim down sight and going around corners with ease, basically, and everything. It seems a little bit quicker, and I kind of know what you're saying. It feels a little bit quicker. When I first popped in the game and started playing, I picked up the UMP first thing. What I did, I mean, because I'm familiar with it, so I used it, and I'm like, golly, I feel like I'm going extremely fast right now for some reason.
Yeah. Well, speaking of speed, I'll tell you one thing I do not like about the game, and that is have you seen anybody using that juiced death streak.
Yes.
Have you seen them running in front of you?
It's
No.
crazy.
It's so retarded. I mean, they're like, I mean, it's so unrealistically
You look like a
stupid.
Roadrunner. Yeah, you look
Yeah.
like Roadrunner from the old cartoons. It's pretty silly.
I mean, your feet are moving faster than you're moving. I mean, you're moving fast, but your feet are moving like way too fast. And that was the first thing I saw. Literally, as soon as the game started, my first match, it was like team deathmatch, and this guy goes, blah, 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 and I was like, what the hell was that? So yeah,
Awesome.
let me ask you. Now I noticed that they did something different. They actually used different sprint animations for the guns. Now, if you remember, like if you sprint with a if you sprint with a shotgun in this game, it looks a lot like World at War sprinting did. I wonder why they changed that. Have you noticed that when you sprint, like the gun animations are different?
I haven't noticed that a whole lot, but I did see something that I thought was kind of odd. Like what you're describing, and I guess maybe it wasn't just me. I noticed what I know what you're saying, and I noticed it, but then I thought I was just seeing things. I thought, well, maybe it was just a different angle I saw it at before, because I saw somebody do that with an SMG, and then I saw somebody do it with a sniper rifle, and the animations look different. And I thought, it's my eyes are just playing tricks on me. So I didn't put a whole lot of thought into it. But you believe you're seeing it, differently.
Oh, I know I am. Yeah. So like if you run with I'm not just talking about different from each other. I'm talking about different from even COD, Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare 2. Now I know that I'm really like getting into like detailed bull crap. Like it's literally crap right now. But like in Modern Warfare 2, your guy would pretty much put the gun up against his chest and run, and he was moving it back and forth. In this game, there's a lot more wobble to the gun when you're running, and then if you're running with a shotgun, the dude is basically holding it, pointing at the air as he's running. And it's two completely different animations, and they used that animation in World at War. So I'm like, if they're still using a version of the Modern Warfare 2 engine, I wonder why they changed up. I wonder what the reason was for changing up the animation of the gun movement as you're running. Because as far as I've seen, there's not one gun that looks the same running as it does in Modern Warfare 2.
Well, they had to change something.
Exactly.
See, I could pick on my own interest game, as much as I could pick on the next one. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm with you. It's like why did they keep so many things the same, but yet choose something like that, to change?
Aesthetic to change. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't really know either.
But yeah, this is these little
Yeah.
things that I'm noticing. But the thing is that none of these little changes are hurting the game at all, and they're not even making it bad. I am so pleased with the balance so far in the perks. I haven't been ripped off. I haven't
I
been
agree.
ripped off.
When I shoot somebody, I know 100%. You know what? I killed that individual. My bullets hit him. I got the hit markers. I knew the number of bullets that hit him, and I knew I should have killed him. And the same thing, if I miss, I know I missed.
See, the thing is, man, and I caught myself doing it, and I felt something familiar back in COD 4, the COD 4 days, man. When I would die, I would watch the kill cam because I was like, dang it, I want to know what he did to kill me that quick. But as we kept going and going, I stopped watching the kill cam. Why? Because I knew I was getting ripped off. I didn't have to see it. I knew I was getting ripped off, so I wouldn't watch it. I'd be like, you know what? I just got screwed over. I shot him 1,000,000 times. Now I'm finding myself watching the kill cams over again when somebody turns a corner and shoots me. I'm like, damn, that was a good shot. I got to see this. And sure enough, man, they'll run around the corner, pop, 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 right on me. No cheat, no nothing. I mean, the guy's it's all skill, and I know that. And it pisses me off even worse knowing that somebody outskilled me. But, I respect the game more for it.
Exactly. I've never died running around a corner. When I get mowed down, you're right. It's 100% because I lost the fight. I don't complain about the game. I don't complain about lag. None of that. When I get killed, I'm like, well, you know what? I lost. That was it.
You know what else? I mean, tell me if you've seen this. I haven't seen a whole lot of quick scoping, which was a concern that you had, before.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't seen it either. It's been nearly non-existent. I've been actually pretty happy about it. I had one match, I think, with somebody who was pretty decent at it. Especially being new, but I'm sure we'll see a lot more of it as obviously as the game gets a little older and people start going and branching out into some of the other weapons. But at this point, I believe it's going to be pretty tough to run around and quickscope the way that it was taking place in Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I've tried it myself, and it doesn't feel the same to me for some reason.
And I think I have a theory. You finding that a lot of people are played Black Ops, Call of Duty. Basically, that's their very first Call of Duty, or the majority, you would think. And going into Modern Warfare 3, they're like, okay, well, this is like Black Ops, and so I'm thinking that I guess they're going to take over the sniping from Black Ops into Modern Warfare 3. And you see that a lot of people are kind of adopting that style of play, even though I'm very sure that you're going to find that kids are going to go over to Optic Gaming or any other montages and see all these quick scopings, and they're going to want to start doing it. But here in the birth of the game, I think you're going to see a little bit less of it, but I guarantee it's probably going to rear its ugly head here before long.
Well, I mean, and as for right now, it's kind of like what you said. I think it was you, Adam, said that it's a free kill. I mean, these guys try and quick scope me. I just duck out of the way and take them down. So for me right now, it's pretty fun getting these free kills and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, so you guys are content. You guys have had fun with it.
I am. At this point, I asked to have Modern Warfare 2, but an improved, tweaked, best version of it I could get my hands on. And honestly, I feel like that is this. It's very similar to here I am showing my age again. When Windows 95 came out, it was a great operating system, and it had some flaws. It was obviously very new, but then when Windows 98 came out, it was like Windows 95 fixed. And
Right.
That's exactly the way I see. Modern Warfare 2 was completely, again, innovative, even over and above Modern Warfare. You really saw some new innovation. You saw kill streaks, and not just 3 standard ones. You saw all these new kill streaks. You saw, new weapons that were extremely different. You saw maps that had, all kinds of different attributes that Modern Warfare 4 or Call of Duty 4 did not have. So, it was like Modern Warfare 2 still had that innovation there, but it was still, flawed in lots of ways. And of course, after the whole Infinity Ward nonsense with Activision and all that, they didn't support the game like it really needed to be. So now here we are with Modern Warfare 3. Now I feel like this is Modern Warfare 2, but finalized, fixed, tweaked, refined. I don't know what word you want to use to describe it, but it's as good as you could get from that engine. It feels tight. I mean, like unbelievably tight and smooth. No drops in frame rate. The hit detection is as solid as I could ask for in a multiplayer online game. The movement is good. So far I'm happy with the guns. The maps I'm okay with. I have a couple of gripes, and we can get into that. Very, very minor gripes, but I do have some gripes. I mean, it's not perfect by a long shot, but to me, the game engine, beyond the game design, it's about as tight as I've ever seen for a multiplayer game.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree, and I think we owe Sledgehammer a little bit of respect.
We do.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing that a new company can come in and not only pick up the slack, but improve on something that another company had done, and they did a phenomenal job of it.
The 2 new game modes I will really give them, and the idea of the 3 different sets of kill streaks,
Yeah.
the strike packages. I'm extremely happy with how those turned out. I thought it might be a little odd. I've tried all 3. The specialist is certainly questionable. I really, really think that is geared towards the lone wolf ultimate player. I mean, you really need to be good to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Specialist.
It's extremely difficult to truly take advantage of, especially when giving up the idea of the assault or support kill streaks. You really, it's very difficult, I think, to achieve anything once you have it. I've seen it in action. I've seen people, perform really well with it. But man, it's a trade-off. There's no doubt.
My favorite. I mean, if you're going to be running Specialist, I mean, this goes out there, kind of help. But what I love to do, I mean, my main I guess, support and kill streaks and whatnot. But my favorite perks: sleight of hand, quick draw, and dead silence. And then if you mixed in with that with the specialist, when you do extreme conditioning, blast shield, and then your variation of whatever you want your third tier perk to be. And it works out really, really well. It makes you fast and almost invincible to stuns and whatnot using the blast shield along with quick draw and sleight of hand. It's almost like you're superhuman.
And that's
Yeah.
true, and that's what they were going for. And but man, I'll tell you, getting an 8 kill streak, or I guess it's maybe a 7 kill streak that gives you all of them. I'm still a little confused on that because I've gone through and I've gotten them all, but I still don't understand whether. See, it's weird because if you choose hardline as one of the kill streaks you get during the first 3 that you're getting after you spawn, then it's kind of weird because when does that actually apply? And the other thing,
Yeah.
by the way, what's interesting is overkill is a complete waste unless you choose it prior to spawning. You have to choose it as part of your class because otherwise it makes no difference.
Right.
So, there is some strategy involved. If you're going to play specialist, you really do have to give it a little bit of a thought on maximizing the potential you have at becoming a super soldier. I really like the idea of it. I don't think that's for everybody. In fact, what's
No.
odd is I think most, I'd say the majority of people I've talked to are running support.
Me too. Yeah, I am too.
I'm more aggressive. I do the assault.
Yeah,
I do.
I mean, I enjoy this. About the assault, one thing I wanted to say was whether it be a bad thing or a good thing, and I mean I kind of enjoy it. The fact that your kill streaks wrap around, so even if you get your top kill streak in your assault class, even if you don't die, it'll wrap back around and you go back from the bottom without dying. So it's like continuous kill streak.
Yeah, so you don't have to die to start all over again with the kills.
Right.
Yeah, I thought
That's
that was
pretty
pretty
cool.
interesting. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I enjoy the support class. I don't know. I like that Juggernaut. I don't know why. I just like that. That and the. I mean, there's still. See, that's what I meant. There's
Ballistic
actually.
vests?
Yeah. There's kill streaks there are assault kill streaks in the support package though, like the stealth bomber and stuff like that.
Right.
So thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
I like a lot of the new kill streaks. I like the what is it? It's the helicopter the one that kind of follows you. The Overwatch, yeah.
Yeah, the AH6.
That thing is awesome. I love it. Like I
Yeah.
could just kind of waltz around.
One of the support point streaks that I really liked a lot was the assisted airdrop, where you had this basically AC-130 that's covering your drop zone, and it's like you just camp out there and you have this arsenal of stuff that it just gives you, and then it's also performing support while you're trying to pick it up.
Yeah, that was
Exactly.
It was an Osprey, I believe, that's flying down, that's holding them off. That was pretty cool. I enjoyed that a lot. I used that in a free for all on Dome, and I was like, oh god, I'm screwed. But then I remembered this guy was going to help me out, so I got all my stuff, and it was pretty cool. But yeah, I think we're in total agreement. We have a little bit more to talk about other than Modern Warfare 3, unfortunately, guys. So I think we're going to get into that. Did you play Uncharted 3, Jason?
I have it sitting here in the wrapper.
What a bitch.
I know. It really is sad, but honestly, I'm telling you, that's, I've just been so damn busy, and even then I'm fighting to have to make time for Modern Warfare 3, and I'm sitting here every night. I come home and I have my Modern Warfare 3 box sitting on top of my Uncharted 3 box. And even then, those two are sitting on top of my Battlefield 3 box, and it's like it's like, damn it, it's like, why does this stuff have to come out all together, really?
Yeah, well, I totally am on the same page with you. I have actually completed quite a few games since the last podcast. Let's see, I completed Arkham City, Uncharted 2, Rage, Modern Warfare 3, and I am now in the middle of Skyrim. Okay?
God.
So I know what you're talking about. and I'm going to just go ahead and jump right into okay, today is the release day of Skyrim.
Indeed.
However, it feels like it's been out for 2 days for me, because I haven't slept. And and so I've been playing it as if, normally in a day I play maybe like 2 to 3 hours of a game, but I've been waiting for Skyrim for years. And you guys know that's the game for me. That's the big game I've been waiting on. And so, midnight last night, I go to grab the game, and there's been people waiting there for hours and hours waiting in line for this. And so I get there and I get the game. I grabbed the beautiful collector's edition strategy guide, which looks like it's just amazing looking. I'll throw a picture of it up on my Facebook fan site, so you can go over there and check it out if you want. But I grabbed that too because I've only become companions with 2 strategy guides in my life, and that's Oblivion and Final Fantasy VIII. So I knew I was going to need this one. And not only that, this thing is so thick. That you'd be surprised. It's just amazing how much crap is in this game. And I put it in, and I haven't stopped playing it yet. I stopped playing it for the cast, of course, but it's been a straight up almost 24-hour fest here. And I have to tell you,
what you're saying is the Skyrim's the limit.
That's really reaching, Anakin.
Fantastic.
But yeah, I have to tell you right now that Skyrim is not the game that I wanted coming out of this. That it's not the game I thought it was going to be.
Whoa! What? Hang on!
It far surpasses.
Oh God! Hang on! Good Lord! I'm choking up on drugs and crap here.
It's like, you son of a. No, it far surpasses what I thought. Now, going into this, I had expectations of what I wanted, and the thing is that I didn't know how to go farther than Oblivion, because Oblivion, in my opinion, is a perfect game. I played it 500 hours at least. I loved every minute of it. It's one of the only games that I have played probably every week for years. You know what I mean? I played it, I can put it in and play a little bit. It's kind of like reading a book. You can continue the quests and find new things. And so going into Skyrim, I've got a preconceived notion of what it's going to be. And when you throw it in, it just blows you away at what you've got here, especially, and I'll tell you right now, it will blow you away even more if you pick up the strategy guide and just thumb through the first 50 pages, which is just introduction. The first 50 pages is basically showing you, bestiary and weapons and items and stuff like that. And you really realize what you've gotten yourself into is a gaming experience that can easily last you in the hundreds of hours. And guys, I can't tell you, you have to play this game. It's that good. And I know you guys aren't big fans of RPGs, but you guys need to try it and fall in love with it.
So get this. Here's some things I want to ask you about. And I know that you're obviously a massive fan of the gosh dang it,
Oblivion.
Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's what I was looking for. I know you're a massive fan of the franchise.
Right.
Now, here's some of the complaints that I've seen, and I want your feedback on it, because even these are nitpick. Because if you've actually read the reviews for this thing are just through the roof. I mean, I don't think I've seen a game reviewed this highly in ages. So obviously, these complaints are nitpicky at best.
Right.
First, I want to ask you, what do you think of the hair issues, with the characters that they're saying that. Some of the things I've seen regarding hair is that it's absolutely hideous.
Let me address every question you're about to ask me with an analogy. Okay. So we've had a spectacular game come out called Uncharted 3. Now, this game is a beautiful game. It is, it's got a great story. It's got everything to go with it. Now let me ask you, because I know you've seen it. The hair is phenomenal in that game, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It is. It's amazing.
Yeah.
The thing is that Uncharted 3 is like a handful of diamonds. Okay, it's beautiful. It's worth its weight. It's awesome. Now I want you to take Skyrim and imagine that Skyrim is a humongous bag full of diamonds. All right, in that bag of diamonds, you might find some pebbles that are actually a part of the weight. It's not all diamonds, but there are a few pebbles, in there. But in the end, you've got more diamonds than you ever had with Uncharted 3. Why? Because you've got more time spent with the game. You've got more story invested. And this is my personal opinion, by the way. But, you've got more of all this stuff. Yes, the graphics may not be up to polish. Yeah, you might have a glitch every now and then. As far as the hair goes, that's bullshit.
So I mean, again, these are just very, very minor nitpicks.
Yeah.
Apparently, they're fairly consistent among and this is user stuff. This is just stuff I've seen that people are talking about. Some people complained that the hair was not improved, if you can believe this, from Oblivion.
Well, and like I say, man, when you create a game this massive with these amazing visuals, with this huge expanse, with all of these items in it, with all of this dialogue, with all of this stuff, sometimes these little pebbles are going to sneak in, these little things. But you got to look at the grand scope. And again, if you're nitpicking, of course there are things.
Sure.
But to tell you the truth, Anakin, it's these small little glitches, these things that actually make the world better for me. You know why? Because the whole game is a script, but in reality, nothing is scripted. Everything happens at random. The glitches in a game like Skyrim are the thing that makes the game real to me in a way, because you never know what to expect sometimes. It's not like they happen all the time, but every now and then you could be clubbed by a little rabbit and your guy goes flying through the air. Now, would you be like, oh my God, that's stupid? Or would you start busting out laughing and have a good time with it?
Right. I'm with you.
Okay, that's my random event that happens in the game. Yeah, I could sit here and read this whole strategy guide and know everything that's going to happen, but it's not going to document those random little glitches or those random dialogue flaws that are going to be like, ooh, that mixes things up a little bit. It's pretty interesting.
But now, hang on though. I want to get your opinion on some of these other things though, because I'm really curious on them though. Because some of these are nitpicks. The hair I chose that one because to me, I thought it was the funniest nitpick that somebody could actually like. I mean, again, this is like taking any perfect specimen of anything. It doesn't need to even be a video game, and then trying to find some kind of flaw,
Right.
So the hair, I chose that one first just because I thought it was ludicrous that anybody could even complain about that. But this is a bigger thing, okay? Now, apparently, one of the only things that people constantly berated, Oblivion about was the animations. They claim the animations were very jerky, and the transition from one kind of animation to another was never very smooth. And obviously, we're talking about a huge game world, so there's almost no way to make everything perfect. But in this, some people are even claiming the animation is actually worse than Oblivion. What's your take on that?
No, that's not true. Absolutely not true. The thing is, Anakin, I'm a huge fan of Oblivion. I just stated I played it hundreds of hours.
Absolutely, sure, yeah.
So I know the animation, but the thing is that some people, they do what I do, and I do in the sense I get attached to something. Okay, I get attached to the way things are, and in Oblivion, you get attached to the way things work and the way things move, and so when it's changed in Skyrim, it gets a little upset. And what they're talking about is, there are some transitional animations that are kind of bad. In Oblivion, when they walk through a door, they would kind of fade away. In this game, they kind of just pop and disappear, which is something I've noticed. Now that might be what they're mainly talking about, which is stupid to me because it just doesn't. I don't care. But some of the other things is like, if you talk to a bard and you ask him to play a song, bloop, he kind of does like a sim thing, like he gets the guitar in his hand immediately. But the thing is that, like, again, man, when you've got a game this big, I'm pretty sure that programming, a guy to walk over and pick up a guitar and bring it over, that animation can get strenuous. I was sitting there thinking the other day, and the lip syncing for being able to talk to every single NPC in the game, which is thousands, all their lips are moving right with the voice. That's awesome. A feat. That's a feat.
Absolutely.
And it may not be perfect, but they are moving. They're not going ba ba ba. They're actually moving with the lips. That's a feat. And you have to appreciate those things in order, in my opinion, to bitch about the other little stuff.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is I think that's what the general community is. Anybody is going to try to find some kind of problem. And even that is not out of spite. This is more out of people they can't find any real problems, so they
Nope.
do have to say, well, I mean, it is a great game, but there's these little goofy things that kind of bother me. And I think that's generally what people are saying. I don't think anybody's actually complaining,
Yeah,
but there are some things that they consider to be flaws still after it's all said and done.
yeah. I mean, but it's like we're talking about with the next Call of Duty. You're never, and this is the thing with a game like Skyrim, you will never see a Skyrim type game, and I'm going on record right now. You'll never see a Skyrim type game that doesn't have a parade of these what most would call flaws with the game, because it's just damn near impossible to monitor all of them.
Sure,
You know what I mean?
absolutely, right, right.
We talked about glitching in games like Skyrim. The thing is that there is not enough playtesters in the world to walk every square inch of this place, making sure that this one pebble you pick up isn't going to give you infinite potions,
Right, right.
But there is some idiot out there that will find it, and that's the thing. It's just these little things that you have to, you just have to take in. If you look at all the good things, all the diamonds in your bag, and you're picking out the pebbles and bitching, that is retarded. That is absolutely ridiculous. Oh, there's a pebble in here. You are rich. You've got the biggest experience. This year, you have the biggest experience, in my opinion, in gaming that's going to last you for 6 more years. Long after Modern Warfare 3 has been replaced, mind you, this game will still be giving me, I know already, will be giving me time. I'll be putting it back in. And you're picking out the pebbles and saying, oh, the hair is bullshit. This guy's guitar appeared in his hand. So what? It's just like. and by the way, I really don't know where the hair is coming from. Like, that's weird. Well, my guy's hair looks amazing. I actually was really proud to pick his hair. He's got like the Leonidas hair.
Oh yeah.
And it looks really good. It actually looks really good. The thing is that if you compared the hairstyles side by side in Oblivion and Skyrim, you'd realize how stupid those comments are.
Well, let me ask you this on a completely different one, not nitpicking anymore, but I have to ask: Have you come across the actual star of the game? Have you come across the dragons?
Oh yes, oh yes, yes.
So I mean, again, somebody I was reading some comments in a forum that they felt like the dragons, the encounters with the dragons, and again, this is apparently very early. There was not that much of a sense of dread, even in comparison to other creatures. That they felt like maybe it wasn't as epic as they were hoping. But again, I don't know if this is early in the game and you meet little small dragons, or whether they weren't very clear on it. So
Right.
Obviously in the trailer they made those encounters out to be these unbelievably death-defying feats that you were even going to approach this thing, much less survive. So
Well, it's kind of idiotic. Again, man, I'm seriously talking because these gripes sound like somebody who played the game for 5 minutes, and so basically you've got what's called a tutorial to the dragons. The dragons are a huge part of this. So let me paint a picture. The first literally encounter, and I'm not exaggerating this. This is exactly how it went. You hear this the first of the game, and I'm going to spoil it a little bit. It's the very beginning of the game, so don't worry. I'm not giving anything away. A dragon literally comes and starts breathing fire on the town right before your execution, so you actually get free. Your first encounter with the dragon, there's a dragon out there. You set up an army and you run across like the Celtic plains. I say Celtic because most people won't know that Nordic and Celtic are based on the same thing. But you run across these plains. It's raining. You run into this watchtower. You've got an army with you. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit easier to take down a dragon. But the second time, you follow this dragon up the mountain, you find out that he's like the king of the dragons. And he resurrects from the ground a skeleton and then paints the skin, the flesh and muscle back onto him as if he's just like, he's playing God, he's like, here, come back. And you fight this thing. He's running around breathing fire. I mean, it is the most epic stuff I've ever seen. If you're well equipped, if you are smart and go, hey, well, most dragons breathe fire, I might need fire resistant bullshit, then yeah, you're going to probably have an easy time with it. But does that mean that every dragon in the game is going to be like a level 4 dragon that breathes fire? No. As you get farther in the game, you actually find these things at random, and they can come down and take out your entire, quest line. You could be right in the middle. Oh, I'm almost to my spot. And boom, he swoops in and takes you down. So, I mean, yeah, it is kind of underwhelming at first because it's pretty easy, but then you just got to think about it. Oh wait, I had a whole army shooting arrows at him the whole time. I won't have that throughout the whole game. So if you're finding them underwhelming, just go a little bit farther in the game. If you're still finding them underwhelming, guess what? You can change the difficulty in game, and you can make them harder. So, I mean, it's up to you. Do you want them to be harder? Then make the game harder. Then I don't know what else to say. It's all there for you to fix.
Well, there you go. You heard it from Viridia.
I'm not being a fanboy. I'm sitting here like I'm
Well,
seriously.
you're being a little fanboy.
Shut up. I am a fanboy, but when it comes to the gripes, my gripes would be with the just some of the graphic textures. It really upsets me in a game when you know how they do this. They basically have a palette for grass, and then they repeat the palette. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like a repeating texture.
Exactly, and you can tell that if you're far enough away. You can see the repeating value, and they do that a lot in this game with the grass. That really pisses me off. And not adding shrubbery or foliage around like where two textures meet, and it's really obvious that there's nothing there. Not adding something to cover that up. That's kind of lazy to me, and I wish they would have done that. Some of the actual gripes rather than this kiddie bullshit is actually with. I mean, there are some massive glitches where you've got, you get hit and you fly through the air, and I mean it's just crazy. Like you're all the way across the map. You never touch the ground again, or random enemies will flip up into the air, or your horse will disappear underneath you. I mean, there's some random glitches like that I've experienced.
Well, those sound pretty significant. I mean, obviously no more, probably not enough to ruin the experience by far, but that's still those sound pretty significant for glitches.
Well, again, it's a huge open world game. How many open world games have you ever played? I'm like when it comes to Bethesda. Have you ever played like
Bethesda?
Fallout?
I only played Oblivion, and even then I played it just enough to kind of get a feel for it.
Right.
But I've told you my story before, how I got chased forever by an elk or something, that finally killed me after 20 minutes, and then I moved on, respawned or whatever, and started going forward again. And I got to this little stupid side mission about collecting, 20 fish scales, and it just pissed me off. So I kept getting killed by a fish. So I said, I'm out. I didn't go back to it. And
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, well, okay. So, I mean, in a Bethesda open world game, like if you've never played Fallout, this game is heavenly. I mean, Fallout is just riddled with glitches like this. And it's to be expected in a game as large as these. I mean, honestly, it's not like, okay, yeah, it's open world, but you can't go up this mountain, you can't go up this mountain, you can't go past it. No, you can go everywhere. It's not. There's no limits. And
well, if you go to any open world game, I mean, we can talk about Red Dead Redemption, we can talk about Far Cry 2, we can talk about any of the Grand Theft Auto games. If you explore enough, you're going to find some bizarre, sometimes hilarious glitching that obviously, like you say, you can't hire enough QA guys to come in there and
Speaking of which, I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm just sitting here thinking about it. In damn near every open world game I've ever played, there's been floating like that.
Absolutely.
So I mean, in Red Dead Redemption, I actually have video proof of it. I was sitting there playing, and all of a sudden, there's a coyote just like scooting through the air, and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome!" and I don't know, it had to have been a glitch within this like area because my horse ran off, and bloop, there he is. He's up on top of the sky, just kind of running around. Grand Theft Auto, I've had it happen where I try to get out of a car, and instead of falling to where gravity is, I fall up. It's like, so I mean, these things are normal in an open world game where it's there's less boundary. You can't compare it to a game like COD where there's definitely these walls, these hall corridors that you can go down. They're working within a confined area. Anything outside of that isn't even rendered. It's basically a painting
exactly
wrapped around it.
It's very finite. You can have people explore a map and just walk on every square inch of it in 10 minutes.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely. I agree.
And so that's what, you hear me talk a lot about some of these games like, oh, dude, that's unacceptable, the glitch. Well, that's because, you've got this finite area, like you say. It's a lot easier to fix. If I can play all through Skyrim and only run into one glitch every 3 hours in a game that massive, I'm happy.
Mission accomplished. That's
Yeah.
the way I see it.
And that's the truth. When it comes to story, when it comes to the character, the models, they upgraded all the models. There's nothing wrong with the graphics there. Some of the facial textures, people look a little dirty. They look like they've got dirt on their face, but I think they actually do. I mean, you're basically playing in the roughest part of Tamriel, which is Skyrim. It's like the Nordic, the Viking type, and so yeah, they've got dirt all over them. It's dirty. It's supposed to be that way. Not only that, it's 200 years after Oblivion, so things are a little bit tougher then, and it's an all around amazing game. I had talked a few people who had never even played Oblivion into it. I'm gonna mention him right now. End of line. He's like, I never played Oblivion, but you talked me into getting Skyrim, and this dude is playing it almost as much as I am, if not more. He's sitting there just sending me messages like, it's epic, and I'm like, I know, I told you. Why would you doubt me? So Skyrim. Amazing. I obviously I can't give a full review. I guarantee you I've played for probably about 13 or 14 hours.
Oh my God. Since it came out about 18 hours ago.
I know. And so I can tell you right now that I'm not even probably 5% through with the game. So I can't tell you anything else. I may run into something that breaks it for me, but so far I am literally at peace, and this is the game I've been waiting for. If this game had came out at the beginning of this year, I'm telling you right now, I would not have experienced half the games that came out. I would have been stuck on this one. So it's a good thing that it did, because I'm very happy that I got to play through Batman Arkham City, which was an amazing experience. If you guys didn't play that,
I'd like to get that one.
Yeah, it is a very good game, very good. I do have a gripe about it. The ending was too abrupt, man. I didn't even know it was coming, and then the credits started rolling. I was like, "What?"
Wow.
I mean, so that was
Maybe
pretty.
that was the point.
That pissed me off a little bit. But then also, guys, Uncharted 3. I might have sounded like I was insulting Uncharted 3 earlier, but I wasn't. The way I see video games is the value of the game is how much time I can put into the game. For me, that's it for me. So a game like Uncharted 3, personally, it doesn't merit a $60 release price, because I'm not going to play Uncharted 3 online. I'm buying it for the story. The story is going to run me maybe 10 hours. Whereas a game like Skyrim is going to run me somewhere like 150, 160 hours. Now, that's a game worth putting some money into for me.
Right.
So I wasn't knocking it. Uncharted 3 was an amazing experience, had an amazing storyline that really kept you on the edge. A little underwhelming ending, but still, it kept you on the edge all the way there. It was a thrill ride. It's the most cinematic game I have ever played, ever. I mean, it really makes you feel like you're watching a movie sometimes. The thing is like, I hate games that are more like movies, like Heavy Rain. I like Heavy Rain, but it's more like a movie,
Right, yeah.
This game makes you think that that's what you're playing. But then you realize, no, that's not true. I'm actually playing this. It just feels cinematic. So that was a pretty cool thing. There's a lot of emphasis on melee combat in this one. Whereas the other ones have been pretty much primarily shooters. This one has a lot more melee fighting in it, so that's pretty neat. And yeah, so I highly recommend Uncharted 3. Rage was okay. But yeah, man. Other than that, I'll tell you what, guys. Skyrim has lived up to my expectations, and it probably will be my game of the year for sure.
We already knew that.
I know. But let me ask you guys this. Have you seen the reviews for this Skyward Sword Zelda? I know, Anakin, I know you couldn't care less, and Adam, you probably couldn't either, so I probably shouldn't be asking this.
But I have seen nothing but praise for it. It's certainly not up my alley. I think pretty much everybody understands my handheld console approach or whatever. But I mean, my God, it's just getting unbelievable amounts of praise, including murmurings of Game of the Year.
Not only Game of the Year, they are saying this is the best Zelda game ever made.
What?
They are saying that this beats out Ocarina of Time, Link to the Past, all of these games that not only are games good, they have defined gaming in the past. They're saying that this has done what they did by redefining gaming, but better.
Wow.
So,
Hard to believe, my friend.
I know,
Yeah.
but what they said, okay, when I say the word motion control, you go, oh God, we all do. Okay, I mean, somebody, I think it was at IGN, made the comment the other day that they're like, the new Mass Effect 3 was announced, blah blah blah. It will not have Kinect capabilities. Thank God. It's like you don't want it to have these motion controls. However, evidently, Skyward Sword has taken motion controls and made you want them in a game, to the point to where these critics are saying that you won't ever want to play a Zelda game without them.
That's what I've seen.
Yeah, so it's pretty. I'm excited to see it in action. I want to see what this is like. Evidently, so basically, if you don't know, it uses the Wii Motion Plus, and it follows you 1-to-1. So whatever your hand does, Link's sword does in game. As well as a ton of other things that are 1-to-1 scale. So like you really do feel like you're actually controlling it. Now, if you don't know the Kinect, what the hell, the Wii Motion Plus, it can monitor not just up and down, left and right movement. It can monitor forward and back movement as well. So like, if you lunge your sword forward, if you lunge your Wiimote forward, Link's going to do the same thing. And this game really does evidently delve heavily on the combat aspect, where it's not just hacking and slashing an enemy, but watching how they're blocking you and slashing and figuring out how to get them to move their defenses and open up. And evidently, it brings a lot to the table in terms of gameplay. But then also the cinematics. They say it's the most cinematic game on the Wii, as well as the best graphically. So it's pretty interesting. I'm very.
Well, I've seen the footage on it, and it's it certainly looks better than most Wii games. There's no doubt, and from what I can tell, from just watching some of the stuff, it doesn't seem like it really breaks any molds. But man, just like you're saying, I've read these reviews that are just through the roof. They just claim that this is the way that the Wii was meant to be played. Like, this kind of game is what should have come out at the launch of the Wii to really introduce people to motion gaming. And it's really a shame, because now a lot of people, are probably not going to buy it. They're, unless they're really, really a Zelda fan or really in the know. I mean, I know some pretty hardcore Nintendo, fans that haven't even given this game the time of day, and it's really a shame, because I think that this is probably one, like you say, that this is one not to be skipped, gang. I mean, if you're a Nintendo guy, or if you're even just a Wii guy, this is a game. It is a must buy.
Yeah, I mean I'm one of them you just described. I'm a huge Nintendo guy, but I haven't given this the time of day. I haven't even taken a second look. I'm like, super gimmick, I'm like, they're using the Wii Motion Plus, blah blah blah, and we have been taught that word, gimmick. I mean, we have been literally just hit over the head with these stupid peripherals and whatnot. But this evidently is the one you want. This is the right way to go. So I'll be keeping my eye out on it anyway. I know you guys won't play it probably. Adam, what do you haven't even said anything about it. Are you there?
No,
He's like, what?
Wait, hold on, I'm gonna scrim.
from what I've heard about it, I've played the original on the NES, and then on N64, Ocarina of Time. From what I've read about it on in few magazines and on forums it seems to be a really innovative game, like you said, and I'm actually interested. I have a Wii. I don't play it a lot, but I mean,
you and everybody else who owns one.
Yeah.
Shut up. Yeah, it's true.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. I was waiting for the announcement that Skyrim was going to be on the Wii. I was going to get it for that, but it didn't happen. Why? I don't
They'd have
know.
to call it Skywim. Sorry, it's getting late.
Yeah.
Skyrim.
Skywim.
Skyweem. That's too funny. That's too funny.
Oh god.
I'll tell you what. Something else that came out was the Metal Gear Solid HD collection thing that included.
That I am excited about.
Yeah, it included the Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3, and Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, which Metal Gear Solid 3 included the MX. What am I trying to say here? The versions of Metal Gear 1 and Metal Gear 2 for the MX. What the hell? MX what was it? Like that system that they had in Japan that it came out for? MX-11 or something? I don't know. You guys correct me in the comments. But anyway, it came out for that, and they are actually on there. So literally, this is probably the craziest collection, and the only game it doesn't include is Metal Gear Solid, the number 1.
Actually, I wish it included Metal Gear Solid Azeroth.
What?
You know, that's the other one that like hardly anybody.
You're an idiot. Oh my god.
It took you.
It sounded like some WoW name or something. It's like something spelled backwards. Azeroth.
No, I mean,
What?
to be totally honest with you, and y'all probably both are gonna laugh at me. Metal Gear Solid is probably my favorite story mode game of all time.
Yeah, it was definitely one of mine. It's got such a crazy story, such an insane narrative that it draws you in. If you can follow it, which you can't, but if you can follow it just enough,
there's so many ups and downs to it.
Yeah, and if you can get past a lot of the corny dialogue, it's an excellent game. I highly recommend it. And it's not so much a game as I see it being just a story. It's more than anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean that am I missing anything? Did anything else come out that's worth talking about?
Man, I think we've hit so much. I mean, honestly, I think Skyrim is probably the last of the majors for this season, other than the Star Wars game that's coming out in December. And of course, that's actually a pretty good ways away now. But I don't think there's anything left. What Assassin's Creed Revelations is that?
Revelations, yeah, that's coming out.
That's all a couple of weeks, isn't it? Next week.
It's the 17th. So
right.
So yeah, it's next week.
To be totally honest with you, from a marketing standpoint, I don't see the objective as far as all these gaming companies to force their games out right when all these major AAA titles are all coming out at the same time. I mean, it seems like it would take sales away because, I mean, not everybody has the money to buy every single one of these games.
I agree. I mean, we've talked about it repeatedly. It's that, everybody wants those holiday dollars, and they believe that everybody can buy them all, or at least they want their piece of the pie. I just think it's terrible.
The way I've come to see it is honestly like, and last night was my biggest thing. I saw 3 mothers of children that weren't old enough to go out after 10. They're getting Skyrim for their children. Okay, so you got to ask yourself, when would they be doing that? Only around Christmas. And when could you afford that? You couldn't afford all these games normally, so you would ask people to get them for you as gifts. You know what I mean? So, I mean, in the end, I guess I can kind of see where they're coming from. Maybe polls showed that this worked better than releasing them in other months, but I'll tell you, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Especially when you're not a kid and you're not going to get them as gifts.
Yeah. When you have to go out and buy every single one of them.
Exactly. It's pretty tough. Yeah. I mean, at this point, I ended up with what I ended up with this fall. I've gotten Rage, Battlefield 3, Modern Warfare 3, Uncharted 3. Anything else with a 3? Actually, Gears of War 3.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's been my list. I chose to skip out on Skyrim. I chose so far to skip out on Batman, although that one's probably going to be a must buy for me later on. I'm going to look for that on a deal coming up, because I mean, it's just not enough hours in a day. And honestly, I mean, it's like, why buy all of these games when by the time I get around to them? In fact, I almost did this with Uncharted. I could have waited on Uncharted and probably picked it up for $40 on a deal
Yeah.
when it pops up, because at this point I may throw it in and play it for a little while, but Uncharted's the kind of thing you don't want to just play a little bit, and then put it
Right.
away and go back to Modern Warfare.
Well, that's the thing, you can't, man. I jumped through that one in a day. I couldn't put it down. It was very good.
And see, that's what I want to do. I want to just take a weekend and say, okay, I'm not going to do Modern Warfare 3. I'm not going to do Battlefield 3. I'm not going to, paint the house. I'm going to play Uncharted 3, damn it, and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to play it all the way through, because that's the way they want you to do it. That's the way to experience this. You don't go to the movie theater and watch 10 minutes and then walk out and then come back tomorrow and watch another 15 minutes.
Exactly.
Uncharted is just like that. You're there for the story. The story's what matters, and you want to sit through and take it all in as much as you can.
Yep. I totally agree.
Make that ring.
Totally agree.
I have to say, on a not gaming related note, I watched whilst playing these games. I was playing so much, I actually was multitasking, and I watched the whole series of a show called Breaking Bad.
Oh man!
Oh my God!
I've already started it, and it is
dude,
one of the best shows on television.
My number one favorite show, other than The Shield, is that.
Yep, I'm right there with you. That's what everybody says. I started with The Shield as being the best show ever made on television.
Yep.
And from what I can tell, I mean, I'm not all the way through it by a long shot, but as far as I can tell, Breaking Bad is probably going to be the second best show behind The Shield.
Have you watched any of the Breaking Bad series, Jason?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm through the first season.
Yeah.
Oh, so you haven't seen the end of the second season?
No, I've already heard not what it's about, but I've already heard everybody says exactly the same thing you just said. They're like, "Have you made it to the end of the second season?" I'm like, "No," and they're like, "Oh my God!"
Brad, would you believe that they would show something like that on public television?
Wait, are you talking? You mean at the end of season 4?
Is it season 4?
Yeah, I'm not gonna say. I'm trying to think of a way not to say it. I'm like sitting here going, "Wait a minute." Yeah, if that's what you're talking about, then no, there's no way I could believe they showed it. I was affected. I don't get affected, man. I was affected by it, and oh my God, I got goosebumps right now thinking about it. Anyway,
everybody's been telling me they can't wait for me to get to that section, so I'm all about it. I'm on my way.
Yeah, the thing is that they're in the works talking about making a season 5, but they don't need to. They ended it. It's over. Like as far as anybody's concerned, that's where it could have ended, and it would have been the best ending to a show since The Shield.
Oh, I love the ending of The Shield.
I know.
God, it was the best ending ever.
Yep. So, I mean, that's where I'm at, man. I cannot wait to discuss more with you, Anakin, about that. And
Indeed.
And Adam, have you seen all of it?
I've seen all of it. I've seen every season.
Yes.
No, hang on, Adam. Did you watch The Shield?
Oh no, I haven't seen The Shield. I've seen Breaking Bad.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you have to get that one.
I'm sending Vic Mackey to break your door down.
My first show that I watched was Heroes, and I got into that really bad. And then after that, it was Dexter.
Yeah,
I hear that's good, but it's I think that one's slightly campier than I was wanting.
Well, the only thing about it for me is it's one of those shows that makes you uncomfortable because like you don't know what's gonna. You're like it's an anxiety filled just you're always anxious the whole time. It's never like okay, let's take a break. But with Breaking Bad, there's points of like storytelling where you can take a break, but then it amps up and then boom, it goes back down a little bit. It's a perfect mixture. It's an excellent show.
Mm-hmm. If we have time, on a totally entertainment, well, I guess you could call it, but a sports-related note, have any of y'all, and I know Brad from a football standpoint, have y'all heard about Joe Pa and the Penn State Nittany Lions?
Oh yeah, huge news right now. I actually had a long conversation at work today, and actually at lunch today with some of my friends I work with. We were talking about that. And, I don't want to get too derailed, but I'll tell you what, I completely and utterly disagree with the firing of him.
So explain what's going on, because I don't even know what's happening, so I know the viewers don't.
Well, not apparently, allegedly, one of the, I guess, assistant coaches for the Penn State was caught molesting a 10-year-old boy on 40 separate accounts, I believe it was the number.
What?
Yeah, and somebody, I guess, an assistant or somebody who was in the locker room at the time, but it happened in the locker room of the Penn State locker room, apparently. And he went to not the person who was doing the molestation, but a person who caught them in the act went to Joe Paterno, and he apparently did nothing.
Well, now hang on. See, that's not 100% accurate from what I've seen. Joe Paterno, now remember this guy is a legend. Okay, I mean we're talking about. I mean, he is absolutely legendary as the Penn State coach. Okay, this guy is hugely highly regarded. All right, I mean this is not just some clown that got mixed up with all this. Okay, the deal is this assistant coach who saw the act of this other individual molesting a child in the locker or in the shower or whatever at this Penn State college. He went and told Joe Paterno about it. Joe Paterno then went and reported it to his superior at the time, but he did it in this nonchalant way because it was only a rumor to him. He had no verification of it. He had nothing to go by other than this other individual telling him, his assistant coach, telling him, "Hey, I just saw something completely inappropriate going on. I need to report this. We probably need to call the police," something like that. He tells Joe Paterno this. Joe Paterno goes, "Hey, look, I didn't see it with my own eyes. I'm just going to go I'll tell my superior about it, and then, they can act on it. But it's not in my place to do so, and that's the end of it." But now, Joe Paterno now is being demonized in the media for basically almost like he swept this under the rug or something, which he did not. This guy did what he was supposed to do, and even then it was based on somebody. It was based on hearsay from another coworker. That's what it boils down to. You can name all the players and you can name all the locations, all the other things, but the bottom line is he had a coworker come to him, say something about some other individual that was completely unrelated to him, that happened to be there on hand. He didn't investigate it. All he did was also report the hearsay that he was told to another individual above him, and then went on about his way.
That's weird.
He did no wrong in my eyes, as much as I can tell. And for whatever reason, he has been made to be a scapegoat, and he has been demonized in the media. I completely disagree with it. And various other people, celebrities particularly, disagreed with it, including Ashton Kutcher with his crazy Twitter account. And basically, the internet has been crying out that says anybody that lets this guy off the hook is a terrible parent. Because, anybody who has anything to do with child molestation is obviously, horrible and should be, killed. Right. And yeah. But the crazy thing is if you actually truly look at the facts, Joe Paterno didn't have anything to do with this. This guy is a victim by just circumstance alone. And honestly, I completely disagree with it. And we had a big conversation at lunch. Everybody else that is in the know as much as I am is just completely and utterly with me on this, and also very irritated that this even took place.
And I mean, I'm a huge football fan, and when I've heard about this, and they're basically cleaning house, and they're even having talks of disbarring the whole football program.
Yeah, it's ludicrous. It's ludicrous.
And the whole student body is basically rioting in the streets over this whole issue of Joe Paterno being fired. And I mean, it's probably the biggest news in news right now, whether it be sports or anything.
It's absolutely, it really is huge. And I don't mind sometimes on the show here covering something as highly covered in the media like this article is. I'm glad you actually brought it up, Adam, because sometimes it is nice to talk about other current events besides gaming, because this really is relevant. I know a lot of guys out there that are fans of my channel, whatever. I see them mention sports quite often. Adam, I know that you're obviously tied into sports yourself, not to mention being a fan. So and Brad, I know you follow it from time to time,
Mm-hmm.
so it's obviously relevant to our audience, even though I know it's not gaming, at least video gaming. It is gaming, but yeah, it's certainly affecting a lot of people, and it's certainly worth talking about and mentioning, if nothing else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I had no idea about that because I don't watch the news very much. So thanks, thanks for telling me about that. That was interesting. Hope everything works out for that guy. Anyway.
Indeed.
Anyway, I think we have rambled on quite a bit for this week.
Indeed.
Guys, you have any words left to say? Adam, you got anything to say?
I'm about to go play some Modern Warfare 3.
Wait, what was that? I missed that. I was playing. All right, never mind.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching and listening to this week's Down the Scope. Next week we're going to be talking about what are we going to have? Assassin's Creed. We're going to be talking about that. Guys, if you have anything you want to send us, anything you want us to talk about on the podcast, don't forget to email it to downthescope@gmail.com, podcastdownthescope@gmail.com, and we will consider talking about that on the show. Again, thanks Adam for being on the show. Anakin and I will be back next week, and we will see you then.
All right, take care.
Peace out, guys.
Later.